Hello everyone and welcome to Sinful Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe, and most of all, I hope you're all fighting that war against the Grey. Today we're taking a look at the Collecting a Battalion series, a series where we look at the various battalions from different factions within Warhammer Age of Sigmar and see how we can build thematic armies for them. But to start with, let's look at exactly what is a War Scroll Battalion, because this will help us identify what we're trying to do here and give you sort of an idea on why we're doing what we're doing. So a War Scroll Battalion is a special formation within Age of Sigmar comprised of various units, normally within the same faction, though some do split over multiple factions. You can take this by taking this you will gain access to additional abilities for the units inside the War Scroll Battalion in-game. This is really cool because it allows you to sort of take units that thematically go together and get abilities for them, for taking them together. Why are we doing this though? So collecting a battalion can be a great way to collect to a theme, as previously mentioned. It gives you a goal to strive towards and an endpoint to reach. Battalions generally have maximum limits on them. This is really cool because it can give you sort of an endpoint of your collection. You also get bonuses, as mentioned, for playing with the models that thematically go together. And you might get a chance to try out models you might not otherwise take because outside of the battalions they might not be the most optimal choice or even a good choice. But a battalion might make them something much more greater than the sum of their parts. But what is the plan for this? And so the plan is to build an army focusing on the various battalions we look at. And for this particular part of the series, we'll be looking at Gloomspite Gitz. We also want to thematically build upon the battalion if required, because not all battalions will fill out a 2,000 point army, which is what we're sort of going to try and build with this. We also want to have a framework to set an end goal within. So this is the battalion itself, and so there are in Gloomspite Gitz some smaller and some larger battalions, and the mega battalions can actually be fit within 2,000 points, which is really cool and quite unique. It's rare to get those mega battalions, which are battalions of battalions, inside a 2,000 point army, but the Gitz can do it with some of them, so we'll be looking at those as well. But without further ado, let's get cracking into this and let's get started. Today we're going to be looking at probably my favourite battalion inside Gloomspite Gitz and probably my favourite models inside Gloomspite Gitz, and that is the Gobbopalooza. This is a really odd battalion as it's sort of a battalion of, you would say, sub-heroes. They're not quite heroes, they're not characters or leaders in any way, but they're all quite individual models with their own unique abilities. And so let's get looking at the organisation of the battalion and you can see what I'm talking about. To start with, you need to take one Scaremonger, one Brewgit, one Spiker, one Boggle-Eye, one Shrewmancer. These are all, as mentioned, little sort of sub-heroes. The ability you get for this is you get add 1 to the casting and Gobbopalooza no-watch rolls for a model from this battalion while the model is within 8 inch of another model from this battalion. So this is giving you some additional benefits for taking all these cool looking models together. This is a really small battalion, so we're going to build an army around it that tries to make use of all these different abilities and sort of build some narrative in there as well. To start with, the army is obviously going to be Gloomspite Gitz. Now, the sub-faction is not apparent in this because Gloomspite Gitz don't have any sub-factions. The realm we're going to make the army from is Chumon for no other reason than it fits the narrative of what we're going for, because our leader of the army and our general is going to be Scragrot the Loon King. He is an amazing character and a really cool centerpiece for the army, even if he's not, this giant centerpiece, but he's another great cool model for which you can have some fun painting. Him being the general has some cool abilities for us. He's got a really cool command ability that only works if he is the general. He can sort of control the Bad Moon on the table, which really is a very good effect for the Gloomspite Gitz to have access to. He also is going to give us, on a 4+, if he's on the battlefield, an extra D3 command points on the 4+, at the start of hero phase. And he's got a really cool, unique spell called Nick It, where he can sort of take models, artifacts of power away from them, and also do some mortal wounds to them. We've decided to give him as his spell the Hand of Gork, because this is probably one of the two main spells we really want to get off with the army. This allows us to transport big units of goblins around the table and put them where we need them, and also make sure our opponent has to guard objectives. Next up, though, we've got accompanying him, we've got a Loon Boss who's going to have the artifact, the Clammy Cow. This just makes him another -1 to hit, which is really cool. He's going to be buffing our Goblin units and making them more deadly. And so the whole idea of this army is we're going to be making big units of Goblins rather fighty. Which sounds weird, I know, but that's the sort of idea. Now, I did mention about the narrative we're going from Chmon, so Scragrot actually sets up his Loon Asylum in Chmon, so that the fact he's here in the army as well just sort of builds upon the narrative of the Gobbopalooza, because they would all be sort of working around that sort of mushroom asylum, I feel, together. Next up, we've got a Fungoid Cave Shaman, and he's got the spell Itchy Nuisance. Once again, this is another potential 4+ to get just 1 command point this time. But Itchy Nuisance is also a -1 to hit. This compounds with a bunch of different -1 abilities that we can get throughout the army thanks to other things. We then got 3 Madcap Shamans. One of them is going to have Hand to Gork and one's going to have Itchy Nuisance. These are just for backup in case either of our main casters here die, and just making sure we've got some backup for those spells. And the last Madcap Shaman is also going to have the Squiggler and the Moonface Mommet. Squiggler is just going to be a cool little spell that we can use with some of the squigs we managed to squeeze into the army. For Battalion, we've got 60 Stabbers, a nice big block of Goblins at the heart of the army, and this is going to be the unit that we really try to put all our buffs on and just sort of have this one big Death Star of Goblins. I mean, it's not the greatest plan in the world, but it's a great fun army to play with, and just having this bunch of Goblins that are going to be absolutely murderous and also really hard to hit with the Stabbers and potential use of Itchy Nuisance and other things we can do throughout the army. We've then got 2 units of 20 Shooters. These are just going to provide some cool objective grabbers, and also can shoot off potentially, any lightly guarded objectives. Be great to sort of throw these around the table. They can shoot off a few things and probably kill 1 or 2 models in combat potentially, claiming some objectives, or just charge and outnumber and overwhelm forces guarding objectives. In the other units, though, this is where it gets really interesting. So we've got 10 Boingrot Bounders. These are going to be sort of a scalpel within the army. You're going to have your lines of Goblins, and you can send these Boingrot Bounders with Squiggler and some other abilities around the table, sort of picking off opponents' units that stray too far from their main battle line and sort of cutting off pieces of the edge of your opponent's army. They are a little bit unreliable, so you need to pick your fights carefully with these models, otherwise they will die quite quickly. And we've also got 5 Spore Splatter Fanatics. These are all going to, once again, just benefit those 60 Stabbers and make them dead killy. Next up, though, we'll take a little bit of time sort of looking through all of these, and we've got the Gobbopalooza model, so the Boggart Eye, Brew Gitz, Scaremonger, Spiker, and Shroom Monster, and we'll go through a little bit talking about each one of them and what they can do. So to start with, the Scaremonger. So he's got a few little abilities. All of them have the Slippery Git, so worth mentioning, all the Gobbopalooza have the Slippery Git, where they're all -1 to hit. Whilst within 3 inch of friendly Moonclan units, this stacks in addition. Because they're not a hero, so this is their own sort of little hero protection. He's got the Boogeyman, so in your hero phase you can make a know-what's roll for this model. So this is getting the +1 if he's within 8 inch of another Gobbopalooza model. On a 3+, pick 1 friendly Moonclan Grot unit wholly within 18 inch, you can reroll charge rolls and run rolls for them. That's pretty cool. We've then got the Brew Git. Once again, he's got Slippery Git. And so, Loonshine Potion, he's got a know-what's roll on a 3+, 18 inch, same range. You can reroll hit rolls for that hero until your next hero phase. So you can put this on one of your heroes to give rerolls to hit. Potentially could be cool on the Loon Boss, but he's not particularly killy, so it's not necessarily the best one that Gobbopalooza, but we're taking him for the Battalion, and he is a fantastic model. We've then got the Spiker. He's a really cool looking, creepy looking model. So on a 3+, he's got the know-what's roll as well. You can reroll wound rolls of 1 for that unit. So this can go on a Goblin unit to give them rerolls of 1 to wound, which is really cool. We've then got the 2 wizards within the Gobbopalooza, and we've got the Boggle Eye first. So he's got a cool little spell called Mesmerize. So you can pick one unit, hold within 12 inches of the caster, invisible to them. If that unit is a friendly unit, you don't take battle shocks until your next hero phase. If that unit is an enemy unit, until your next hero phase, that unit fights at the end of each combat phase after all other players have picked all other units to fight. This is really cool. He can make someone strike last. This means your big block of goblins can get in the fight that they need to and potentially kill off some enemies. Lastly, we've got the Shrewmancer, and he's got Fungoid Cloud. Until your next hero phase, you can subtract 1 from hit rolls. This is another -1 to hit, and subtract 1 from save rolls as well for attacks that target that unit. So this is really cool. They've all got cool little abilities that all sort of go off and pair together, and if you can get as many as you can onto that big unit of stabbers, they can be really quite effective. Lastly though, rounding out, we've obviously got the Battalion, Gobbopalooza, but we've also got the endless spells, Morks, Mighty Mushroom, Scrap Scuttles, Arachnid Cauldron, and Scuttletide. All of these are really quite cool, and to be honest, in my original list I had a lot more endless spells, but with the current GHB changes changing how we play, only being able to take 3 into spells, these are the ones I've gone for. Morks, Mighty Mushroom can probably be replaced with some other options, maybe Purple Sun, Gemnids, or something like that, but I like Morks, Mighty Mushroom. It's a fantastic endless spell and looks amazing. Scrap Scuttles Arachnid Cauldron gives us access to a full lore, and this can be some really good utility within the force, and Scuttletide is just an absolutely fantastic endless spell. So this brings us to 1990 points. We've got 1 extra command point within the army, but there's so many more command points than that within the force. We've taken no allies, and we've got 178 wounds of goblin on the table, which is insane. But that's all from me. What do you think of this list? But thank you all for watching. What did you think of that battalion list? Let us know down in the comments below what you think and how you've used that battalion in your own games. Also, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Every subscriber means the world to us, and we're fast approaching 1500, which would be amazing to hit nice and soon. Down in the description below, you also find links to our Discord, in which you can come join and chat with me and the rest of the community there that we've got growing. And also you'll find a link to our Twitch channel, which you definitely should go follow, as we're trying to hit 50 followers on Twitch. Lastly, thank you to all our Patreon supporters. You guys and gals are absolutely amazing. And a special thank you to our Sinful Guard Militia, Christian Weir, Soren, Philip Ward and Chaos Spawn, and our Free Guild Regiment members, James and AJC. If you'd like to join our Patreon and help support the channel in another way, you can find the link down in the description below as well. But thank you everyone, stay safe, stay well, and most of all, keep fighting that war against the Grey. Ciao for now.